So you started looking for a private jet, your buddy just got one down the runway, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I could afford something like that. You go on controller and you're like, wow, jets only cost about $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. Like, this might actually be an option. Let's check it out. But you forgot to consider the operating costs of a pre-owned jet. When it comes to pre-owned jets, the acquisition cost is usually the cheapest, the most attractive part of owning a private jet. But the reality is that it's gonna cost you a lot more to keep going with your jet and actually use it than it is to acquire it. Not to mention the fact that you're acquiring what's usually a depreciating asset. And we've seen these assets depreciate anywhere from 3 to 4% year over year normally, all the way up to 10 to 15% year over year if things kind of hit the fan. So let's talk about just some of the figures that you want to keep in mind when thinking about how much is it going to cost to operate my jet. Now these figures are kind of general. They're based off of a Citation 500 series, so a 501, 550, 560, that kind of a thing. And they're based around 100 to 200 hours a year of operation. So I'm going to give you some super ballpark figures. If you want more information and more concrete figures, connect with me, after this video, and I'll be happy to work with you. Don't forget to click that like button if you're enjoying this content. Subscribe below for more videos just like this, and comment below what jet you're thinking about buying when you watch this video. All right, so we've got two types of costs that are going to be involved in running your jet. You've got your operational costs, or your direct operations cost, and you've got your fixed costs. When it comes to the operational cost, basically what we're talking about is fuel and maintenance. And what you do basically is you take a look at your gas prices around, which right now Jet A is running around $5.33. You could get a little bit cheaper if you're part of some of the clubs. I've seen it even more expensive as well if you go out, out west in California. So you got your fuel costs. Then take a look at your fuel burn. A Citation 501, for example, is burning 162 gallons per hour. Now we go from there. So we take a look at that and we look at 162 gallons per hour, and we're doing about 100 hours a year. That's 16,000 gallons a year that you're going to be doing. Times that by 5.33 per gallon, and that's going to give you roughly 60-70 grand just in fuel costs. Then we take a look at maintenance, and I'm just going to make it easy for you. Consider about $300 an hour for maintenance. When you add that all together, you're going to be in the ballpark of $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, if you want to round up, $2,000 an hour to operate your private jet. Now let's talk about our fixed costs. These are things like insurance, hangar costs, pilot fees, training, all of that kind of stuff. Now your pilot's salary for a Citation 501 could be around 100 grand, let's just say. If he's flying single pilot, it might be a little bit more. If you're gonna bring in other crew, think about taking that 100K and taking about 70-80% of that for your co-pilot. Don't forget, their pilots are going to have to get trained annually. So if you're hiring a pilot, it's going to cost you about 20 to 30 grand a year to get type rated. If you're going to be the pilot, it's going to cost you 20 to 30 grand a year to stay current with your type rating. Let's talk about insurance. You're going to need hull insurance and liability insurance. Now, technically speaking, you don't need insurance in order to fly your jet. However, obviously, there's a benefit to having it, especially if something goes wrong. That's going to run you 20, 30, 40K for the year. Think about your hangar. You don't want your brand new $500,000, $1 million asset just hanging out in the ramp where it's pounded by weather and sun and whatever's going on out there. So a hangar is going to cost you anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month to keep it safe and secure. Add all that up, your fixed cost can end up being $100,000 to $200,000 a year. Also, if you're not going to hire a full-time pilot and you can do contract pilots in a Citation can range anywhere from $600 to $1,300 to $1,500 a day to fly, plus their travel and their expenses, so overnights and things like that. Now let's talk about the various fees that just kind of creep up on you. You've got things when you go to the FBO, you're gonna have to pay for a ramp fee, or sometimes they waive the ramp fee if you buy gas from them. You also are gonna have to deal with landing fees. You're gonna have overnight fees. You're gonna have extra fees for relocating the aircraft if you're going somewhere for a long time. Let's say you're going to Florida for 2 weeks. You don't want the plane just sitting there. You're gonna have to reposition it back to to where you came from and then fly back to bring you back home. You might be hit with de-icing fees. There are a lot of little tiny fees that can creep up to you as you go along. So at the end of the day, basically think about at least $500,000 you're gonna have to sink into your jet on an annual basis just to keep it operating. Now, of course, these numbers are super ballpark. For more information, connect with me. You can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok at Tom Lelyo, 941-216-1246. I look forward to speaking with you and helping you find the right jet and find the right budget for your jet. I hope you enjoy that jet life. Catch you later.